NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed immigrant. A Christmas photo released by the royal family features a bad Photoshop job where Prince Louis's finger appears to be missing. And this is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need it.
Like, my life was so hard. Everybody's f***ing life is hard.
Yeah,
you were the prince of a
true.
goddamn country who dressed up as a f***ing Nazi, and now you're trying to come back as the Pope? Suck it.
My brother's fiance, Miss Meghan Markle, is on the American program Suits.
Yes, Wednesdays, 8 p.m, USA Network.
The only difference between that show and this is people watch this one.
Prince Harry announced he's getting married to American actress Meghan Markle. And this is super exciting for a lot of people. I mean, because they come from different worlds, you know? Her mom is black, his family's super white, she's an actress, he's on welfare. Like, it's so romantic.
Now for the tricky part. Place in microwave. What is microwave? I don't think we have any of that.
Are you fucking dumb?
It's a microwave, silly.
Don't talk to me like that, you bitch! I'm a fucking duchess! Shake that off!
Oh!
Harry, whose memoir just broke the Guinness record for fastest selling nonfiction book of all time. The story of Prince Harold and his frozen yogurt slinger is so popular, they're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis, and it's...
If you had lunch with Meghan Markle, you'd be stunned at how dumb she was. Not because she's black, because I wouldn't think she was black if I looked at her, because she's an actress who was on the show Suits.
Meghan Markle is a lifelong feminist, which she's demonstrated by marrying a prince and giving up her job.
Out of nowhere, Meghan Markle ended up holding a title nobody is clapping for. No ceremony, no cheers, just straight controversy. Most criticised name of 2025. Yeah, really let that sink in. Not too long ago, before Prince Harry stepped into her life, she wasn't exactly dominating conversations. A lot of people barely recognised her, some even struggled to remember her name. She had a role in Suits, but let's be real, that wasn't the kind of spotlight that turns someone into a global headline overnight. And yet somehow, in just a few short years, everything flipped upside down in a massive way. Suddenly, it wasn't just headlines. It was full-on attention from every direction. Comedians, talk show hosts, late-night personalities, even animated shows started taking shots one after another. And the craziest part, it didn't feel forced at all. It felt like the material was already there, just waiting to be used. People weren't digging deep for jokes. It was all right in front of them, ready to go. But what really shocked everyone wasn't even the jokes themselves. It was who was saying them. We're talking about major names here, not random accounts hiding online. These are people who earn millions, people trained to measure every word, people who don't take risks unless they know it's going to hit perfectly. These are the same individuals who avoid unnecessary controversy at all costs. And yet, one by one, they all stepped forward, like, yeah, this one's worth it. That's when the big question started spreading everywhere. What exactly happened behind the scenes that made even the most careful voices stop holding back? So now, everything gets laid out. Every jab, every roast, every moment where a celebrity looked straight into the spotlight and said what a lot of people were already thinking.
So at the end of the year, 2025, Ranker.com put out a list of the most disliked celebrities. But let's just for the fun of it, let's just look at the top 5, okay? Leading up to Meghan.
Gone on Oprah, I didn't know. I had no idea how racist they were. It's the royal family. You didn't Google these motherfuckers? What the fuck is she talking about? She didn't know. The fuck? It's the royal family. They're the original racists. That's like marrying into the Budweiser family and going, they drink a lot. These motherfuckers invested in slavery like it was Shark Tank. They're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby's gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist. Because even black people want to know how brown the baby gonna be. Shit.
But didn't want to say out loud. And it all starts with the guy who basically kicked the door open and made it okay for everyone else to follow right behind him. Chris Rock didn't just joke around. He went straight for the core of the narrative and broke it down fast. No dragging, no overcomplicating, just direct, sharp points that had people reacting instantly. He looked at the situation and pointed out something simple but powerful. Marrying into one of the oldest and most powerful royal institutions in the world and then acting surprised when complications show up doesn't really add up. He had zero patience for that angle. He basically framed it like stepping into a known high-pressure situation and then acting shocked when things get messy. His message was clear. You knew what you were walking into. And then things got even more intense. When the story came up about questions regarding the baby's appearance, he didn't hold back. He challenged the way it was being interpreted.
Just a great series about a rich, white, dysfunctional family, all scheming. Oh no, that's The Crown. That's The Crown. I'm sorry. How great was Imelda Staunton in The Crown? Wasn't she amazing? Her portrayal of the Queen was so good, Prince Harry called her for it and asked her for money. Turns out Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will still get paid millions of dollars for doing absolutely nothing. And that's just by Netflix.
He made it sound like something that, in many families, can come up without deeper meaning, and that's where things got uncomfortable for a lot of people watching. Because once Chris Rock said that out loud, live, on stage, it shifted the entire conversation. Suddenly, opinions that people kept quiet started coming out more openly. It felt like a switch flipped. And once that happened, the reactions didn't just grow, they exploded fast. Then Joe Coy stepped in, and he didn't do it quietly either. He took it straight to the Golden Globe Awards, one of the biggest stages in entertainment, in front of the biggest names in the industry. And all it took was one clean, simple line. He compared the entire situation to a show about a wealthy but chaotic family where nothing really happens. And the crowd reacted instantly. That moment hit hard because everyone understood it immediately. No complicated setup, no long explanation, just one sharp comparison that landed perfectly. And what made it even more intense? Award shows are supposed to stay safe, keep things smooth, avoid tension. But he did the opposite. No hesitation, no soft tone, just straight delivery. Then he touched on the massive streaming deals, and this is where it started getting awkward. Huge amounts of money, massive expectations, but people kept asking the same question. What exactly came out of it? What did audiences really connect with?
Harry said racism was a big part of their decision to leave, which you know things are bad at Buckingham Palace if they came to America to get away from racism. Prince Harry, whose memoir just broke the Guinness record for fastest-selling nonfiction book of all time, the story of Prince Harold and his frozen yogurt slinger, is so popular, they're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis, and it's...
Why does Meghan Markle make her own pretzel bags? They don't know why.
That's interesting. She takes it from one bag and puts it in another bag.
There's another bag.
And that confuses people.
This, we're just going to put into a different bag.
The 60 Minutes interview was a great chance to hear Harry and Meghan's story in case you missed their 2-hour sit-down with Oprah or their 6-part Netflix documentary.
That gap between expectation and clarity turned into its own talking point, and suddenly, the whole situation felt like something people couldn't ignore anymore. And when that kind of comment happens live, in a room full of industry giants with cameras everywhere, it hits different. The laughter in that room wasn't just about humour, it showed exactly where the mood was heading. Then came Jimmy Kimmel, and his approach was more calculated, more precise. He pointed out something so simple that people were surprised it hadn't been said earlier. The idea of leaving one place over serious concerns, then choosing another place with its own complicated issues. It made people pause and think. He didn't even need to push hard. He just let the idea sit there and let the audience connect it themselves. And then he moved into Spare, and that's where things got even more intense. A long, personal story, filled with emotional details, but when viewed from a different angle, it became something people debated heavily. Kimmel framed it in a way that highlighted the contrast between privilege and struggle, and that contrast triggered strong reactions. Some people saw honesty, others saw oversharing.
Meghan Markle has finally revealed why she and Prince Harry call each other M and H.
And he'll say M and you'll say H and your friends say M and it just is a thing.
It's a thing.
And do you both love it?
Yes, and I like nicknames a lot.
What could it be? A mystery for the ages.
President Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK that will reopen British markets for American companies. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
No! No! I refuse! I'm sick of it!
Elon built electric cars. He's going to Mars. Why isn't he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from Suits. NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for
But either way, it got people talking non-stop. And what really hit people wasn't just the story, it was the decision to make it public on such a massive scale. Family matters, personal experiences, all laid out for the world to see. When that gets turned into late-night humour, it spreads even faster. Then Jimmy Fallon came in with a completely different angle. He didn't focus on the big dramatic moments. He zoomed in on something small, almost random, but somehow powerful. A simple clip. A basic action, nothing serious, but the reaction it triggered was huge. People weren't even sure how to process it at first. It felt disconnected from everyday reality in a way that stood out immediately, and that contrast between lifestyle and content sparked conversations everywhere. Then the interviews kept coming. Oprah Winfrey, major specials, streaming documentaries, televised features, each one adding another layer to the story. And every time, the same message appeared, wanting peace, wanting privacy. But at the same time, more appearances kept happening, more cameras, more exposure. That contrast didn't go unnoticed at all. Eventually, people started asking, was this about sharing truth or staying visible in the spotlight? And once that question started spreading, the tone shifted again. Stephen Colbert didn't even need to push hard. A simple moment. A nickname revealed publicly. It was meant to sound sweet, but in that setting, it came across differently. The audience picked up on the branding vibe instantly, and the reaction followed right away. Because when something starts to feel more like presentation than personal, people notice fast. Colin Jost took it even further, pointing out the bigger picture. He talked about perception, direction, and how different audiences were reacting. His take was blunt, straight to the point. No extra sugarcoating. Then he focused on Prince Harry. The shift from royal life to something completely different. That transformation raised big questions about identity, purpose, and what was gained versus what was left behind. When Saturday Night Live turned parts of the story into satire, that was a major shift. That's when it moved from serious discussion into full entertainment territory. And once that happens, it spreads even faster. Trevor Noah had one of the biggest perspective changes. At first, he was fully supportive, calling out issues and backing her side strongly. But then something shifted. A moment at a film premiere stood out. An interaction that didn't match the traditional image people expected. That moment stuck with him, and it changed how he saw everything. He pointed out how royal marriages used to represent power, alliances, history. Then suddenly things looked completely different. More modern, more businesslike, more strategic. That contrast changed his tone completely. And once that idea clicks, that everything might be part of a bigger plan, it's hard to ignore. Finally, Bill Maher stepped in with a broader perspective. He didn't focus on just one moment. He looked at the overall pattern, the balance between wanting privacy while staying highly visible. It stood out clearly. He compared different approaches, different generations, different ways of handling public pressure. And when he brought up long-standing figures who stayed quiet despite intense attention, it hit even harder. Because at the center of everything was one question that kept getting louder. How do you ask for less attention while constantly stepping into the spotlight? And that's exactly where everything paused. Right at that moment when Bill Maher looked straight ahead and said, "What?" Everyone was already thinking it. Nobody just wanted to say it out loud at first. The whole situation didn't add up, and people could feel it in their gut. You can't stand in the spotlight talking about privilege and struggle in the same breath like they're equal. It just doesn't land right. It's one or the other. You don't get to claim both sides whenever it's convenient. And the wild part, they genuinely didn't seem to notice the contradiction at all, like it just flew right past them. That's not just being tone deaf. That's a whole different level of disconnect from reality. People weren't buying it anymore, and nobody was clapping along to the drama. Even Bill Maher made sure people felt bold enough to say it straight. No filter, no hesitation. Then Nikki Glazer stepped in, and she didn't come to joke around, not this time. She came in sharp, direct, and honestly ruthless. It wasn't about getting laughs. It was about saying what people were already whispering everywhere. And her take? Easily one of the harshest out there. She broke the whole situation down step by step, like it was some kind of strategy blueprint, not a love story. Every move, every decision, every moment. It all started looking calculated in her eyes. She painted a picture that hit hard. A woman chasing fame, pushing forward, but not getting the level of attention she wanted fast enough. Hollywood wasn't delivering the spotlight at the speed she expected. So what happened next? According to Nikki, that's when everything shifted. Then came Harry, someone with instant global attention, someone whose name alone could open doors no audition ever could. And just like that, everything changed. Nikki didn't sugarcoat it at all. She said it straight. Take Harry out of the equation, and what are you left with? In her words, Meghan becomes just another actress people barely remember. Someone from a mid-tier legal drama trying to stay relevant, maybe even chasing reality TV just to stay visible. That was her ceiling, that was the limit. And without that royal connection, the massive global love story people believed in, gone just like that. But what made it hit even harder was the idea behind it. Nikki wasn't looking at romance, she was looking at strategy. And the scariest part? From her perspective, it worked perfectly. Every move lined up, every outcome delivered exactly what it was supposed to. That's where things really started heating up. Now here's where the tone shifted completely. The American hosts, they were sharp, funny, throwing punches with a smile. But the British comedians? Completely different energy. They weren't laughing anymore. They were irritated, even offended on a personal level. And when they came in, they didn't hold back at all. Zero mercy, zero hesitation, just straight pressure. Jimmy Carr walked in and dropped a line that instantly changed the room. No build-up, no long setup, just one clean statement that hit exactly where it needed to. He pointed out the image that had been built over time, a strong, independent, feminist identity, something that defined everything publicly. That was the brand. That was the message. Then came the contradiction. According to Carr, the moment a prince showed interest, everything else seemed to disappear. Career, independence, that whole strong messaging. It all looked like it faded instantly. He didn't even need to explain it further. He just let it sit there. And the audience? They felt it right away. Then he turned to Harry. And that's when it got even more intense. He brought up that old controversy, the one that's followed Harry for years. The photo that never really went away, no matter how much time passed or how many good actions came after it. Charity work, public service, carefully managed image, none of it erased that moment completely. Carr made it clear. No matter how many redemption arcs happen, some things just stick. The internet doesn't forget, and people don't either. That wasn't even the part that upset people the most, though. What really pushed people over the edge? The money. Regular taxpayers, everyday people working jobs, paying bills, handling real-life stress. They were seeing resources being used while hearing complaints about life being unbearable. Not difficult, not challenging, unbearable. That word hit differently, because for a lot of people, unbearable means something completely different. That's where the frustration came from, and it wasn't small either. It built up fast, and it felt real to a lot of people watching. Kelly Osbourne didn't ease into anything either. She walked straight into the conversation and shut it down fast. No soft delivery, no dancing around it. She said what so many people were already thinking but didn't say out loud. Everyone struggles, everyone carries something heavy. That's just life. But not everyone has cameras following them, massive deals backing them, and a luxury lifestyle at the same time. That contrast, that's what stood out. And then she dropped the line that stuck with people. Suffering isn't a competition, but you can't act like you've won it while living better than most people on the planet. That's not how it works. From her perspective, that's not real struggle. That's presentation, and she wasn't done yet. She circled right back to Harry, reminding everyone that no amount of rebranding wipes away history completely. You can adjust your image, change your message, even apologize, but the past stays there. Simon Brodkin took a different route, and honestly, it might have been the most unexpected. He actually sat down and watched everything from start to finish, giving it a full chance. No skipping, no bias going in. He admitted he didn't like them at the start, but what surprised people was what came next. He said after watching everything, he came out with an even stronger negative opinion. According to him, the documentary didn't help. It made things worse. It started off strong, touching on serious topics like media pressure and unfair treatment, and people were actually listening. But then, moments came that shifted the tone completely. At one point, Harry described a date with Meghan as pulling the pin on a fun grenade, and that line, it didn't land the way it was probably meant to. For a lot of viewers, that was the moment things started to feel off. Then came the discussion about explaining royal traditions, and people online started reacting. One simple point kept coming up again and again. Just explain it clearly. Keep it simple. The fact that it turned into something bigger than that raised eyebrows. By the time everything wrapped up, Simon dropped a line that caught attention fast. He said by the end, the story didn't feel the way it started at all. And that shift, that's what stuck with people. At this point, British comedians weren't even joking anymore. The tone had fully changed, and the reactions were coming from a place of real frustration. The idea that public criticism could exist alongside continued titles, benefits, and visibility didn't sit well with a lot of viewers. Conan O'Brien came in with a completely different style and somehow made it even more memorable. He didn't even need them present to make it work. Instead, he focused on something unexpected, the wax figures. When those figures were removed from Madame Tussauds, it became a whole moment on its own. Conan leaned into that and tracked down someone involved, turning it into a segment that felt both random and oddly perfect. The humour hit because it was awkward, slightly uncomfortable, but still funny enough to stick. And when something like that becomes a talking point, you know public opinion has shifted in a big way. Then came the lifestyle brand moment. And this one, it practically wrote itself. The idea of selling small jars of jam became a symbol people couldn't ignore. Something simple turned into something premium, carefully packaged and presented as meaningful. Conan played it completely straight, and that's what made it even funnier, because when you look at it that way, it becomes more than just a product. It becomes a representation of a bigger story. John Oliver stepped in last, and his voice carried a different kind of weight. He's known for being careful, thoughtful, and measured with what he says. He doesn't jump into things without reason. So when he spoke, people paid attention, and his take, it wasn't loud, it wasn't aggressive, it was calm, and that made it hit even harder. He suggested that change might not be something easily achieved in this situation, and that idea alone got people thinking. Because when someone known for balanced analysis says something like that, it lands differently. And even after all of that, the conversation didn't stop, because the internet never really lets anything fade away completely. Discussions kept building, clips kept resurfacing, and reactions kept growing. Shows like South Park added their own take, highlighting contradictions in a way only they can. The idea of a global privacy tour became one of those phrases people couldn't ignore because of how ironic it sounded. At the end of the day, reactions came from everywhere. Comedians, hosts, viewers, online communities. Some were funny, some were critical, some were both at the same time. Now it all comes down to one question. Were these reactions deserved, or did things go too far? That's something only you can decide. Drop your honest opinion in the comments. And if you want more content like this, hit like, subscribe, and stay locked in for what's coming next.